Hello, good afternoon. It is Sunday, September 29th, and we are in downtown Minneapolis. We're going to be walking around downtown Minneapolis a little bit today, exploring the city, and then, might go check out, I think it's like the last Twins game of the season today. Might go walk by that. There's a Lynx playoff game tonight. Probably won't be able to stream until that starts, but we'll be around. So thank you for tuning in, and let's see Minneapolis and have a good afternoon. We are on the corner of South 10th Street and South 2nd Ave right now. Large surface parking lot. One of the few remaining surface lots in downtown Minneapolis of that size. But I think outside of the sporting events, there's not a ton going on in downtown Minneapolis from my understanding today, so it might be kind of quiet. We'll see. We're gonna have some all kinds of cool stuff coming up in October. Hopefully some nice spooky streams. Find some spooky stuff to show, some Halloween decorations. All kinds of exciting stuff coming up. Maybe check out near a Wild game, one of their home games with hockey season starting soon. Here we are outside of the music mural. This is often called the music mural here in downtown Minneapolis. There's a picture of Prince in front of this mural when he was a younger guy, and kind of cool photo of him. Cool spot to come take a picture in front of. But I believe sometime next year, this lot is going to be redeveloped. They're going to be building a tower here, and the plan is to incorporate a stairway outdoors and a space where you can still see that the mural there, but it's we'll see how that comes to life. Hopefully next year here it'll be we'll see construction starting and we can follow along with that. Hey, we've got Cartier 231 with the Fox. So glad we beat the Packers at their home. Now we are 4-0. We're the top leading team in the West. I told everyone we'll definitely beat the Packers. Go Vikes. Yes, we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings football team of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Eagan, Minnesota. They are, it sounds like they just won a football game against the Packers. It's good for them, good for the Vikings fans. Up to 4-0 on the year, so won all 4 of their games. We wish them the best of luck to build continued excitement and enthusiasm in Minneapolis. Heather said she loves that mural behind us. Yeah, it's such a cool one. Pete says they took the photo in front of that mural in June. Awesome, yeah. I have some pictures of my kids and stuff in front of that mural, and especially if they build that tower here that they've talked about. That'll be changing that place in time, and that'll be something that people won't be able to do anymore. Got our Foshay Tower right here. It was the tallest building in Minneapolis for a few decades. Now home to the W Hotel. There is a museum up there in the tower, and then you got Manny's Steakhouse there on the bottom level, which is a very popular steakhouse. Good spot to check out. I love the Foshay Tower. Was able to go up there during Doors Open Minneapolis this year and walk around on that upper level and check out the museum. Very cool spot. Something smells good. I don't know if it's Hell's Kitchen or the steakhouse across the street, but someone's cooking up something yummy. Jouster says, why does it feel so empty in downtown? Well, I would say probably because it's pretty empty in downtown. There's not a ton going on in this area. If you're thinking about where people are going to be, where it's, I guess it's what, 3:15 on a Sunday, where would I think people would be right now? Probably, it's in the 80s, so really nice warm day. Probably going to be one of the last warm days like this of the year. People will likely be by the lakes, maybe some people out at their cabins getting a couple more times in the year. But yeah, it's, I mean, downtown is our business district, which is slower than it used to be on a work day, but on a weekend, there's just, this is not the spot that people really go to hang out. We'll walk on Nicollet Mall and then we'll go up to the baseball stadium. See what kind of, see if there's crowds or people out here. What kind of crowd we can find. There are talks of pulling all the bus traffic and making Nicollet Mall here into a pedestrian and bike space permanently, putting the bus lines that are currently moving down it onto other streets. We'll see what becomes of that. I think that's one thing that the mayor and some of the leaders in Minneapolis really are pushing for. We'll see. Heather says it's Sunday. Yeah, I mean, it is slow on a Sunday. Not going to be. Well, there's just not a ton to do in downtown Minneapolis in terms of spaces to hang out. Like, there's some restaurants, there's a few things, but all these outdoor public spots that used to be a spot where people could congregate and hang out, they're gone and closed off. You got the police car on the sidewalk hanging out. But yeah, there's just a lack of places just to be and hang out. TWC Minnesota says hi. Hello, TWC. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Emily says, beautiful day for a walk. Absolutely. Or a bike ride. Was out for a little run around Lake Nokomis before this. Had a really nice run there by the lake. It's a gorgeous day down there. People are still out on paddle boards, but it's Minnesota. There'll be people out on paddle boards even after it starts snowing, whenever they can get it in. The Mary Tyler Moore in front of us here, the statue that we're walking up to, was out here about a week ago. Actually, yeah, last Sunday when the Lynx started their playoff run. And Mary had a Maya Moore, one of the Lynx players' jerseys on before, but it looks like the jersey's gone. We'll head up towards Hennepin here. But yeah, you think of what Minneapolis looks like, and every time, we're downtown Minneapolis, people are wondering where everybody is. And I think it's just infrastructure is not built for people to be here, right? You got bus stops, people can hang out on a bus stop, but you think of like a European street or a street or a restaurant, or like the type of places that people spend their time and money and hang out at. They're going to have a space out front, you're going to have tables, you're going to have cafe style seating or whatever, just a spot for people to sit and hang out, be it in a cafe or in a park. But currently, Nicollet Mall just doesn't really have that type of space. It's just feels like it's meant to be passed through. Looks like FEMA's has a front patio there, but it's all closed off so they can't see out. All right, so we got Carter 231 says, I have 2 questions. Do you have a favorite city in the Twin Cities? And the second question is, what city in Minnesota or town do you want to check out? So I would say I probably prefer Minneapolis. I live in Minneapolis. Yeah, love St. Paul, but Minneapolis is my home, so I definitely have a preference to that one. And then where do I want to check out? So the short list would be like Faribault, Owatonna, the stuff that's kind of close, a day trip, Rochester. Those are ones that I've been meaning to go down and record in just someday and then come back. But life doesn't always work that way. I always find other stuff that I end up doing. And then places like Bemidji, St. Cloud, Fargo, Moorhead. Obviously want to check those out. At some point, International Falls, one of the like further north cities in the U.S. Granite Bay. I don't know. There's so much in Minnesota that I still want to see that I haven't. Some that I've been to already, some that I haven't been to yet, but tons of stuff that I want to see. Chelsea says, glad I caught a new live stream. Hey, glad you made it. Glad you're here. What do you think of Bloomington? Bloomington is great. Yeah, it's a solid suburb. It's got decent amenities, good connections to both the Twin Cities in terms of if you want to come hang out in Minneapolis or St. Paul and do the city stuff, go to a concert here at First Ave, go to a basketball game here at the basketball venue. It's got good connections to the cities. It's a little more affordable than the cities. If you're looking for apartments, it's got decent amount of new apartments there for decent prices. If you like riding light rail, there's light rail stations there in that South Loop area. If you're looking for more of that single family home, they've got a ton of single family homes in that area too. Bloomington, I think, is a very well done suburb, as well as Richfield. Lots of good parks down there, good places for people to go play. And then from there, if you're looking to explore more of the stuff in Minnesota outside of this city's proper, you can get out there a little quicker from there. But yeah, Bloomington I think is a solid suburb. Chelsea says looking at an apartment near Mall of America. So I did a video called, I think it's called like Bloomington, Minnesota South Loop or something like that, maybe like a year and a half ago. And I walked around that area when they were first building some of those apartments. Maybe that's the ones you're thinking of, but they have some decent apartments in that area. Pretty nice, pretty new. We got the Go Links painted in the street here. Yeah, so there's an area called South Loop in Bloomington that has a lot of new apartments, and they're trying to get more amenities in there. They put a grocery store in one of the apartment complexes, but I think within a few months they closed it down because they weren't seeing the sales they were hoping for. And then obviously the Mall of America has whatever you need. That complex that was coming in, that was going to have that the grocery store inside of it, and then I think they were going to have like a food hall in there too, and the apartments are around it. And then with the move towards remote work, some of that stuff might not have worked. I don't know. The apartments themselves, pools, decent amenities. TWC said they had the Aquatennial Torchlight Parade. That was in Bloomington, or I thought that was here. Out Duluth, International Falls, Mankato, Rochester, Ely. So I've been to Ely, Rochester a couple times for short periods of time. Duluth, we try to keep that on a once a year trip, but haven't made it out yet this year. And then Mankato. I think I drove through Mankato once when I was moving here. But interestingly enough, the guy who used to work at the parking garage I'd parked my car at in San Francisco was from Mankato. So it was crazy. I was like, yeah, you know, this is gonna be the last time I park here. You know, I'm gonna stop coming in. And he's like, well, where are you going? And I told him, and he's like, oh my God, that's where I'm from. You gotta go there, and I'll give you my brother's number, and you guys can hang out. And I was like, I don't know how often I'm gonna be going to Mankato, but really nice guy. I was looking at tickets to this baseball game, thinking about taking my family to it today. They were given, I think, they had lower level tickets that I saw through resellers for like $12 each. That was after fees. Killer deal. I guess people lost their excitement when the team got eliminated from the playoffs. Looks like the Twins are currently losing 3 runs to 2 runs to I think I made it to a baseball game this year. Might have gone in last year. I don't know. Can't remember if that was this year or last year. Team went more remote, so I don't see people as much. When we were in the office a little bit more, it's a little easier to be like, hey, it's lunchtime. We all finished our work. There's a game starting in a half hour. Let's go watch the game and come back and take care of whatever comes up when we get back in the office this afternoon. Which I would never do. I would only stay in the office all day, glued to my desk, from morning till evening. So we're walking around the back side of the baseball stadium, Target Field right now. They are currently playing their last game of the year before the teams who had better success in the season play in the playoffs, which they will not be included in. Biker family.
Mama is dying right now. Get the fuck out of my house.
I don't know what that guy's deal is. Yelling at someone. Maybe me. Or is it that guy following him? Who knows? Target Field is a nice stadium, but I feel like people don't just like hang out around here the way they did at AT&T Park in San Francisco, or Oracle Park as it's called now. I feel like around the stadium there's always just be people hanging out and having a good time, and there's just this like energy around the baseball stadium. But when I was living there, the team was very good and they were winning the World Series and very competitive. Look at the usage of this bike corral. Don't let anybody tell you this is not a bike city. Look at that. That's awesome. I think they just added the corral out here last year. We've had the spots out there, but I think having it be like having a security guard out there and stuff the whole time is new as of last year. But glad to see people are using that. Cargo bikes. Did we bring the kids to the game? Hopefully. Smells like bacon. Some mid-inning sandstorm. Look, we got this nice fake grass here. There's no one hanging out on it. Like if the team was good, I'm sure they're good, they're talented individuals, they're professional athletes, of course they're good. But if the team was, great, very competitive, I wonder if there would be people hanging out here watching the game on the this big screen, if the game sold out and stuff. I think that was probably the idea when they built this outdoor space. I've had a couple people ask about North Loop Green in direct messages. So there's this new residential and office tower right here. I will probably be recording a 4K video of it in the coming days. I planned to do it last week, but then I decided to wait until this week because I spoke with building management and I was looking to see if they could get me access to like that mid-deck level to go see some of the views and share that stuff. But we haven't had that sorted out, and I also wanted to wait until the restaurant on the first level opens, which they will be opening Hope Breakfast Bar tomorrow. The other restaurant, Salt and Flour and Salt, I think. Salt and Flour or Flour and Salt, something like that, will be opening, I think, in a couple weeks. It's gonna be like an Italian concept. But we'll go walk around there right now. See if there are people hanging out down on they got this green space that they put in that I thought was kind of cool. But every time I've been there, it's been on a weekday, so we'll see if there's people hanging out there for the weekend. Hey, Mr. H, thank you for the $4.99 donation. I appreciate that. Duluth would be a fun location to tour. Absolutely, yeah. I did a couple lives up there last year. One of the nights I did it, it was pouring down rain. That was kind of fun. And then I think I walked around like the downtown area. But I've been considering going up there, trying to make a day out of it. But it's hard. If I go up to Duluth while leaving my kids here, they'll be mad at me. They'll feel left out. I don't want my kids to feel left out. So you have Hope Breakfast Bar, which is this local breakfast chain that has a few spots. And then Salt and Flour, that's going to be the Italian spot. Hope is opening tomorrow, September 30th. The Hope chain has a few spots throughout the metro area. Don't look at me. Yeah, you can't see him. Yeah, excited to eat there sometime. It'll be cool to have a good breakfast option here in the North Loop area. I've never been to any of their other locations, so I'm excited to check that out. All right, so here at North Loop Green, you have your two towers. You've got the residential here. These all just opened within the last few months. And then you've got a skyway connecting to the commercial. They got a dog on the loose. It's a dog. And another one. We got two dogs. Oh, I think here come the people with the dogs. There we go. I was like, we got dogs on the loose. Here we go. Yeah. I figured there'll be people coming behind me.
Yeah.
And then we have the Adam Turman, very popular, I think Turman, Minnesota artist. This mural here, just put it in. Heather says, "Pups, OMG!" Yeah, what a exciting little surprise! He came running up the stairs, leading the way. Turman24, AdamTurman.com. Oh, were they maybe showing the Vikings game down here? There's a lot of people wearing Vikings clothes. And I hear what sounds like loud sports audio. Oh yeah, they've got football on the big screen. This restaurant called Bassettham, that's a loud whistle. Kansas City and Los Angeles Chargers. People hanging out down here. Yeah, they do, I think there's like music on this little stage sometimes. They do movies out here, yoga, all sorts of different activities in the park. Touchdown! Carter says, I don't like our state flag. It looks hideous. We definitely need our state flag back and get rid of the new one. I'm not really crazy about either one. I think the old one was forgettable. I probably didn't know what it was until, it just looks like another state flag. Didn't know what it was until they started making the new one. And then the new one is fine. It just doesn't really stand out for me. I remember when they did, we got more dogs. I remember when they did, they had like a submission competition for new flag ideas. And there were all sorts of funny ones. And someone just uploaded a picture of their dog. Alright, that would have been great. I like the concept of the North Star being on there. I get it, but super simple feels. I think there was just like I don't remember where it was. There was some sort of like vexillology experts that were meeting and they were talking about the new flag. I didn't read up on their final thoughts around it, but that was within the last couple weeks that they were talking about how it came out as experts, as a amateur, uncultured swine like myself. I feel like it could be louder, but I think people like simple. But yeah, now in Minnesota, there's this weird like culture war around the flags where like people use the old one to make a statement or the new one to make a statement. And it's like this whole thing where any excitement around the new flag has been, I don't want to say like ruined or taken away, but there's definitely like this weird air around it where it's like become this thing that people fight about. Kind of annoying, but yeah. We got the Dock Street Flats here on the left. But when I say I don't have any strong feelings towards the old one, I'm not like a native Minnesotan, so I didn't grow up with it. So like, I don't hold it dear to me. It's like if they tried to make changes to the see, here we go, getting into North Loop. There's a lot more people up here, a lot more foot traffic. Like if someone tried to take the bear off the California flag or change that, I would probably feel weird about that. Don't have strong opinions on the one here. But would it upset me as much as moving the baseball team outside of Oakland? Probably. I don't know. Yeah, to reference it's currently 2024. The people we're talking to live might understand this, but who knows how long a video like this might have relevance and when someone might watch back decades or years or whenever down the line for whatever reason. I don't know. However unlikely it may be, there might be someone watching it years down the line. But just this weekend, or on Thursday, the Oakland Athletics played their last baseball game in Oakland at the Oakland Coliseum before they're moving to Sacramento. And in the last few years, Oakland lost their basketball team to San Francisco, their football team to Las Vegas, and now their baseball team. Very sad time for the sports fans there. And I was always more of a San Francisco fan, but still weird that like this rivalry that used to be a big thing is now gone. And there was this thing called $2 BART Wednesdays that I used to love, where you could ride the BART train to a baseball game and BART would sponsor $2 tickets to the games. So you get $2 weekday game tickets to baseball games at the Oakland Stadium. And had a lot of really fun times with that. I doubt there will be $2 tickets in Sacramento or in Las Vegas. So you got Fifth Avenue Market up ahead, which is inside of Fifth Avenue Market. There's this place, Egg on a Roll. Very popular egg sandwich spot. I think the guy's name is Adam that makes them. He's trying to expand throughout the city more, put a couple new locations. Egg on a Roll. Relatively affordable. Definitely not the like $20 egg sandwiches that some people are selling. Let's cut through to the river. Oh, we got a Jamie here says, "Hi, we are from Florida and currently planning on a move to Minneapolis and watch your videos all the time. Thanks for giving us a good feel of the city streets." Hey, you're welcome. I'm very glad you're watching, and thank you for letting me know, and wish you best of luck in your move from Florida. And hope that you enjoy it here and find a community for yourselves, and don't end up regretting that decision. But I won't ask you if you're regretting it in February or March, because you might be regretting being here and not in Florida during those months. I was just thinking recently about how much I've been enjoying Minnesota lately and how I haven't had any feelings like, oh, I got to get out of here, I got to move somewhere else, I got to go somewhere else. And I realize it's because it's just been summer. And once those dog days of winter hit, sometimes it's a little harder. Cartier says, the street we're walking on right now is so gorgeous. Yeah, this little, I don't know if it's a little alleyway you were talking before that, but yeah, really nice area here in North Loop. But the one thing we're missing is those cafes with the outdoor seating. You've got private spots, but yeah. And I understand it's hard because if you're opening a business in Minnesota, I want to have outdoor seating. I want to be able to sit outside. I want to enjoy the months that we can and be able to sit outside and see people walking by and have people walking by say hi and build that community in that way. But you also have these other months where it's oh, we got a food truck there. These other months where it's just a bit miserable. Should we go check out this food truck fair? I don't know. I kind of wanted to walk over to the river. Yeah, let's go see the food truck fair. Whatever. We can probably still go walk by the river and see what kind of stuff's going on over there too. I had completely forgotten about that food truck fair. Cartier says they've never been to San Francisco, but definitely someday we'll check it out. Yeah, it's a wonderful city, beautiful spot. I haven't been in a few years, so can't really comment on the current state. My wife went there a few months back, and I do have still a lot of friends who live there who still love it and enjoy it. But unfortunately, I have not been back since 2019 or so. Maybe 2025 will be the year I get to visit back. We'll see. I've been going on more work conference trips, so maybe there'll be one there next year that I can finagle my way into going to. And then I'll stream there and be like, look guys, this is the place where I used to eat a sandwich from and I loved it so much. And you guys be like, shut up, Tim, go back to Minnesota. Nobody cares.
When will I be back? Yeah. Oh,
Reminder that when you're driving and when I'm driving, you stop at the stop sign, not in the crosswalk. Yeah, see, Cartier gets it. You got the Marriott Town Place Suites right here. If you're visiting Minnesota, definitely a relatively central spot to get a room at and hang out at. Pretty decent neighborhood. You got most of what you need, access to most of the city. I was just thinking recently, I wonder when they're going to take away the scooters and Lime bikes and the Lime scooters and Veo and all these electric mobility things for the season. Because it is September and it's 80 degrees, but we typically get our first measurable snowfall in October. So in the coming weeks here, maybe you'll get a snow stream. Nah, I don't like streaming in the snow because I think the snow videos are better without me talking over them and without me rambling away. Because you can kind of listen to the quiet of the snow. One of the coolest things about walking through a snowy city is the way that like the snow muffles the sound. And like there's this odd silence about that, like it's really nice. Kind of cool. We're going to cut through the Tower Tunnel up ahead. We got more dogs.
I can't get these buildings anymore. Yeah? All this, can't get it anymore. Where'd you get? Well, you know, it's super
And we're in the tunnel. There's a little artwork in here. Whoa! All right, coming up on one of my favorite like semi-public outdoor spaces here in the city, the courtyard here at outside of this free house. And what's the building called? The Nordic. Got this cool outdoor spot here, plenty of outdoor seating, different food over here inside the North Loop Galley. Smells great. The cafe here, it's called Fragment inside there, really good, and they serve Cardigan Donuts, which is this donut company here in Minneapolis that makes really good donuts. They have a location inside the Skyway. You've got the indoor golf simulator here for the Minnesota golfing types. And this new mural that they've just been putting up over the last, I think they started last Monday, so a week ago Monday, so 2 weeks tomorrow. When I started making these videos about 2 years ago, this was a surface parking lot. And the only time I walked through North Loop at that time there was a bunch of cars parked in the lot. So kind of cool looking at how that's changed over the years. Jamie says, what are your favorite neighborhoods in the cities? We're not sure where we'll end up. We're just still learning the areas. Kind of depends on what you're looking for. North Loop is a very popular neighborhood, like lots of apartments, lots of nightlife, good food scene, access to pretty much everything, good urban feel for being in the city, but still having decent parking. Most buildings have parking if that's important to you. And then, yeah, here's that new building. I really like North Loop, great neighborhood. I live in a little further in South Minneapolis. I think there's a lot of great neighborhoods in South Minneapolis. And then basically you want to be somewhere you can have decent access to a lake, decent food, decent restaurants. Northeast, very popular area. I think kind of by Central there. South along Bryant Avenue. There's a lot of houses for sale in that area that I really like. Yeah, it all just kind of depends on your price range, what you're looking for. If you want apartments, if you want single family housing, if you want whatever it is that we're looking for. If you're a big dog fan, you know, North Loop here is a great neighborhood for dogs and pups. People love it around here. Oh, so the best part of vlogging, you can totally explore new spots or get lost walking around. Either way, about the experience. Absolutely. Pete C says things are always changing. Yeah, I think one of the things that inspired me to start doing this, so I used to watch videos of, I still do, you know, this, like the people in New York that do this sort of thing, and always interesting to see the way cities have changed since the last time I've been there, and the way a street looks different or whatever, or how this was a surface parking lot 2 years ago, and a year ago I remember I couldn't stand outside here without hearing this like super loud hammer just jamming into the ground because they were trying to clear the rock away to secure this building. And then just now it's a building with apartments, and then I think there's going to be indoor mini golf on this first level. I don't know if it's on this building or that one. One of them's going to have indoor mini golf, but what's on the first floor will likely change over the years. And when you're sitting around chatting with people, you're like, oh, remember what this place was? Now we have these ways of documenting it and seeing it a little better outside of just what you can see on Google Street View or whatever. Sasha says, where are your favorite places to relax in the city? Probably the lakes. The lakes are the best. They're wonderful. So you've got like Lake Nokomis, Lake Harriet. Those are probably my two favorites. Makaska is awesome, but could kind of be more of a party lake. I'm not a big partier. I like to relax by riding bikes. We have incredible bike trails. I get relaxed by running. Really, you know, running along those same trails is pretty great. And then, yeah. Chelsea says, also looking at St. Paul. I don't know a ton about St. Paul. There's a new place called Highland Bridge that I've been walking around once a year, which I have on my short list of places to go in the next few weeks. So I try to give an update on that new complex every year. I also kind of want to record some of the spots, like to kind of to show how accessible stuff is. Sorry, I don't have any change on me. Thank you. To show how accessible stuff is via like bus and things like that. So doing like a bus ride to Minnehaha Falls or something like that, or light rail train ride to Minnehaha Falls, and showing how easy and accessible that stuff is with what we have here. Oh, people are having a great time here at the Food Truck Festival. We love to see it. And then downtown St. Paul. I know a couple people that live in a couple different neighborhoods in St. Paul, but I don't know enough about St. Paul personally to speak on where the place to go is. or the place to avoid. I know a lot of people that live in Midway and like it. So this is the North Loop Food Truck Fest. This is way bigger than I thought it would be. Everybody's clinging to the shade. So this is where everyone was. Philly one smells very good. Got waffles. Ooh, the Anchor Fish and Chips. I've had that one before. That's a good food truck. Deep fried ice cream, huh?
I love John. You usually work out that way.
Almost feels a little large for the space that we're doing this in. We got Chelsea open to recommendations all over the city. Yeah. She was talking about adding more flash signals here in the North Loop to alert drivers of pedestrians. I'll show you the thing that she was talking about, which I don't want to be too negative, but I think it's a step in the right direction. I will say that, but I don't. There's one near my house, and people don't really stop for it. Why don't we walk over to it and push the light right now and see if people stop for it? And then also I ran into my friend Jenna over there, but I did not record her because, yeah, Slimy says there's a party. So it is a food truck party. So she's talking about wanting to add more of these, where you push the button and the lights flash, and then the cars go through it. Let's see if this car will stop for me. I got the thing going. Oh, there we go. Thank you. If you're looking for, I was talking with someone here in the replies. They were saying, or in the chat, not replies, we're chatting, not replying. And they were asking for recommendations. I think Chelsea was asking for like neighborhood recommendations. But if you're looking for restaurant recommendations, Burrow here is very good. Bar La Grassa up there does this like lobster bruschetta that is incredible. It's one of my favorite things I've ever, it's just like this buttery lobster bruschetta. It's fantastic. One of my favorite things I've eaten in the cities. It's hard for me to advocate for neighborhoods that I have not lived in or spent more than like a few days at a time in. Whereas like North Loop, I work in this neighborhood, so I spend a few days a week here, and I can pretty confidently say it's a very cool, livable neighborhood, and I'd recommend it to pretty much anyone who, if you can afford to live in this area, I highly recommend it. We got Slimy saying that's good because I've nearly been hit when I ride my bike to school. Yeah, that is unfortunate to hear, but unfortunately very common. I think you were down in Bloomington, Burnsville, Savage, something like that, if I remember correctly, a little further south. Hopefully they can get the bike infrastructure there and the safe routes to school to build a way to where you can get to and from where you need to go safely, because the last thing we want are people getting hit while enjoying a day outside. I get spoiled here in Minneapolis because I see something like this, like a street that has relatively busy car traffic street, and then you have a bike lane like this, and I get mad that it's not protected. I don't want to say mad, but I feel like it should be a protected bike lane and have some sort of barrier. But then I forget that in so many other places that a bike lane like this is something to be grateful for. I mean, where I grew up, before I lived in San Francisco, I lived in a rural part of California, and I was like riding my bike on county roads when I wanted to ride around, and that was a little dangerous. Slimy's in Bloomington. So Slimy, we had someone in the chat earlier asking my thoughts on Bloomington. So I haven't lived there. You live there. What do you think of Bloomington as a place to live? Is it a good spot? Is it cool? How do you feel about the accessibility to the cities? Or you can just rank it on 1 to 10, whatever you feel like sharing. Kimberly says, greatly appreciate your videos for people who, like myself, who are physically unable to walk. Thank you. Oh, you are so welcome. I am, so grateful to have the mobility that I have at this point right now, and grateful that I have a gorgeous day today and that I can be out here walking and spending time with people throughout Minnesota, throughout the world, throughout wherever, who want to see what I'm able to see, and being able to share that with someone like you who might not be able to be out in these conditions otherwise. It is I'm very happy to do that for you, and it's so rewarding to hear stuff like that. Obviously it's very cool to hear when people are like, oh, I used to live in Minnesota, and it really takes me back to see the way neighborhoods have changed over the years and the way things are now. But I think the things that pull my little heartstrings the most are when I hear people who are unable to get outside, whether it's temporarily, permanently, or for whatever reason, and are able to get access to something they might not be able to, even though it's virtually. So yeah, thank you so much for saying that, and I'm so glad to be able to offer this for you, and I'm so glad that there's people in other cities doing similar things, and there's other people here in Minnesota now doing this as well. So glad that you can see the world and see what you might not be able to walk and see. We got Slimy giving us some feedback on Bloomington. Slimy says, pretty good, lots of outdoor places and trails, plenty of family activities. There's only 2 high schools, however, but that probably won't be a concern for you. It's close to Minneapolis, Mall of America, which is great. Would rate it like an 8 out of 10. Awesome. I would agree with all of that. It's got everything from, the shopping capital of Minnesota. At one point, the shopping capital of the U.S., right? The Mall of America, this great hub of consumerism that was like this. It was the biggest mall in the world at one point, I believe. And then also you have like Highland Hills and these different nature areas, and the Minnesota River National Wildlife Refuge right there, where if you want to get away, you can go from the Mall of America to 1 stop down, 2 stops down on the light rail train to that South Loop stop, and then go walk down to that recreation area, and you're on the Minnesota River, and it is quiet and peaceful and beautiful, and like things can just change so quickly. Similar to how we have here. We have, we went from that packed food truck festival to now we're gonna walk to the Mississippi River, and it's obviously still populated around here, but over there by the Minnesota River, it's gorgeous and a little quieter. Hey, we got Jin Sol here too. Lots of Vikings fans. Ooh, I hope a fight breaks out. No fights break out. If fights break out, I probably will turn the camera away. I don't want to see fights. I don't want to record fights. I don't want to, I don't know, it's hard. So if a fight broke out between 2 people who both wanted to fight, maybe I wouldn't care. Well, no, maybe I wouldn't want to record that, but if someone's getting beat up, I'd want to record that so that they could have that video evidence to use against the person who's hurting them, right? I don't know. Then you put yourself in danger of becoming a target. Last time you streamed, I really wanted a fight to break out between Vikings and 49ers fans. Yeah, they're lucky I didn't start a fight. The 49ers got their butts kicked that day. No, I don't fight people. I'm a big fan of when someone wants to fight, running away, because I don't want to fight. When you hear about all of these tragedies happening in Minneapolis, it seems like 9 out of 10 of the gun violence, of the traffic violence, a lot of the aggravated violence that happens in the cities is due to people fighting, and it's not worth it for me. Randy says Como Park, Highland Park, Grand Avenue, McAllister Groveland. Stay away from the east side. Frogtown. Is Frogtown somewhere to stay away from or to go near? Is that considered east side? Como Park, I can attest to being wonderful. I was there a little bit ago, maybe 6 months ago. Beautiful spot. Highland Park, obviously, really great neighborhood. That's where Highland Bridge is, and you have everything from old single-family homes to all those new builds over there. And this sandwich spot, Cecil's, one of the best delis in the Twin Cities. Mac Groveland, great area. Grand Avenue. I made a video on there about a year ago. We love Grand Avenue. I was hoping to get out to Grand Old Days this year, but did not make it out. But yeah, thanks for sharing, Randy. Kimberly's been to Minneapolis on vacation years ago. Beautiful city. Pleasure to see all aspects. Your information is helpful to those wanting to travel the city. Thank you very much. Yeah. Slimy says, yes, the Minnesota river bottoms normally go there. Remember when Valley Fair flooded? Yeah, that was like 3 months ago, right? 4 months ago. It was this year. I have a friend who got the Valley Fair season pass, and he goes there with his, I think he's got like an 8 or 10-year-old kid, maybe. And they missed some of their time this year because of the flooding. They didn't want to ride the bus up there. I don't know what the deal was, but yeah. We got Valley Scare started. Coming up next, I think last week it started, yeah. Which Valley Scare is like the spooky Halloween season thing at Valley Fair. Slimy says, have you ever streamed in Bloomington before? No, so I do at least once a year. I make a video of the Mall of America, and those are far and away have been the most popular videos on this channel that people watch the most. Like, I think those have the most searches, and it just so in the South Loop area of Bloomington. But no, not a ton. There's it's not Richardson. The Nature Center by Highland Hills, I want to walk around there sometime. There's a lot of stuff I want to do in Bloomington. Permission to record at Valley Fair. Maybe recording that, but I don't know. But yeah, I have not streamed in Bloomington yet. I don't know what kind of service I would get at the Mall of America. I feel like that might perform well on Twitter because it gets a lot of seems to get a lot of searches every day. Hey, we got Carter chiming in about Bloomington too. The good thing about my hometown of Bloomington, we have amazing spots. We have Mall of America, and it's peaceful. Absolutely, yeah. So Bloomington, Richfield, those like first ring suburbs are so great at having, you have access to the cities, you have access to amenities. You're gonna have probably a little lower property tax than you get in Minneapolis. You're gonna have access to Minneapolis, both by it and by road, however you get to be better. But wanting to move to Minnesota around Mankato, do you have any videos of Mankato? No, I've never been to Mankato. I've driven through it one time when I was first moving out here 7 or 8 years ago. We drove through it, but I never stopped because I was so excited to get here, and like just the dumbest mentality on my end, because how often do you get to travel across the country and like drive across the country with your wonderful wife and child and get to just enjoy whatever you see? But I was like worried about making a couple $100s right away and getting to start this job that I had, and rushed to get started, and I don't know, did not need to do that. And now probably would have in hindsight, like to have taken a week or two on that whole trip and seen more of everything. Yeah. But yeah, Mankato I would list as on my short list of places to get to. I don't know what time of year is best, but I do want to get out there and record. It's hard because it's fall right now, so a lot of times I think people, when they're looking for Minnesota stuff, they want to see winter in places, so you can see that winter infrastructure, see it covered in snow and ice.
Years, right? If she's 48.
But yeah, I got to get out to Mankato. There's a college campus. I could probably take a couple days in Mankato and find somewhere to work remotely and record after work. I don't know. Let's go to Mankato soon. Jonas says, 4-0 Vikings, baby. Greetings from Norway. Never been to MN, but looking forward to it. Any favorite towns to visit outside of the Twin Cities? My favorite place in Minnesota outside of the Twin Cities is Duluth, Minnesota, and then Ely, Minnesota. For like cities and towns. I think Rochester tends to be pretty cool too, but have not spent enough time there to speak on it too much. I've actually spent more time there than any other city, but it's typically driving from here to family's house and hanging out there for the day, but don't do a ton in the city. But yeah, my favorite city outside of Minneapolis is Duluth, which is one of my favorite cities in the country. It is beautiful, it is peaceful. There's this energy coming off of Lake Superior that is so special, and that area is incredible. I like the Brainerd Lakes area, nice up there, but that's more of like cabin country. I don't know if I'd like to live there as much, because I do like being in cities and like being around people, and I mean there's people around there too. It's not like desolate, but yeah. Walking Minnesota meet and greet in Bloomington at or at the at Valley Scare. Adam says, hello from Shakopee. Rode on the LRT bike path to Eden Prairie for a coffee date with my wife today. You can find good bike infrastructure if you know where to look for it. Lots to improve though. Yeah, the path from Eden Prairie to Shakopee, or the path from the cities out to Eden Prairie on that new LRT trail that's going to be coming in. I haven't made it that far on the trail, but excited for that. If I'm still living here, I will likely be trying to stream from the first train on that, because that's going to be a really special day. Both the green line and blue line extensions, which unfortunately the blue line extension is running to more and more hiccups of people getting upset about it, as did the blue line, and people get mad about the extensions and then get mad about how much more it's costing, when everything that we do to try to slow it down just ends up costing it more money. And I'm a firm believer in having better public transit. Someone is smoking weed, and it is a strong scent. Do not see where it's coming from though. Slimy says, need to visit Duluth. Absolutely, yeah. Highly recommend Duluth. I love Duluth. I think we got the train coming. not to get too heavy into train guy mode and get distracted by a train and just stare at it for 20 minutes. Like, Tim, what are you looking at, dude? We don't care. It's a train. Move on. Dark Hero says, I bet Eden Prairie residents are mad the light rail is growing there. I'm sure there's some that are upset. I'm sure there are some who are excited about it. I'm sure there are a lot who are excited about it 5-6 years ago and are now working remote or have seen their office space moved to the suburbs and will no longer be able to ride the train into downtown Minneapolis. I think I'm very concerned around ridership numbers of that, specifically with that Eden Prairie station, because we want to see that funding go there. We want to see it thrive. We want to see it do well. But we're not going to have those commuters anymore, and all that park and ride traffic from that area. It's going to be a lot lighter. This is the Minneapolis water taxi. So I made that video a couple weeks ago on the Minneapolis Queen, the riverboat. And they take you on a ride below St. Anthony Falls. The Minneapolis water taxi is a private water taxi. You rent it out, I think it's $120 or $190 or something dollars an hour, and they'll just drive you around the river for an hour or so. I was considering trying to make a video with it, but I don't want to pay that much to ride that thing around. But it looks cool. I'd love to get on it someday. I think the idea is you get a group of people, 6 people, and then you split it up 7 ways, and it ends up being So I wanted to get that shot of the water taxi with the train going through without me talking over it, so I could have the audio. I think the idea is you get like 6 or 7 friends together, and then you each pay $20, and then it's a more affordable way to spend it than it is spending $200 an hour or whatever. Nord says you need to check out the new Graco Park. Yeah, absolutely. That is on my short list. I was going to do it last week once I saw that it was opened. And then I think I woke up on Thursday or Friday, whichever day I was planning on doing it, and just could not bring myself to do it. Just ended up working through the day and then taking a little time. But yeah, hopefully this week that should be a quick 30-minute video at most of I'll probably record that without talking over it and then just post it as like a 4K video. The newest park in Minneapolis. You know how the algorithm loves when you call things newest, biggest, largest, most extreme, most dangerous, brutal, downfall of the city, it's all on fire. So yeah. Dark Hero says it's a party bus on the water. Yeah. That's where we'll do the Minnesota meet and greet. We'll hang out on the thing. Like a party boat. Yeah, so it's a little party boat. They have bigger ones, like the whole like you can rent out the whole Minneapolis Queen that I was on a few weeks ago, either here in Minneapolis or over St. Paul. It's a different boat, but you can rent out river boats on either one or on Lake Minnetonka and be able to enjoy the water like that. But I think one of the reasons why I walked over here is we talked about how there weren't a ton of people downtown. Like we were walking through the streets and they're like relatively quiet, but you get over here by the water and there's people riding bikes, people running, people walking around, sitting, just like you've got benches. We don't have benches along Nicollet, right? It's just gorgeous out here. This is so much nicer of a place to be than sitting outside of Target headquarters on a Sunday afternoon, right? Like you're in front of this beautiful Mississippi River. passing through its first city, I think first major city. We got Jonas. Speaking of Duluth and trains, hope they manage to realize the Northern Lights Express train route to Duluth. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that one. A lot of people are excited and want that. I am on board with it, absolutely. You know, I'd love to ride a train up to Duluth someday. Hopefully all the way up to at least 2 harbors. I assume it's not if, but when. Same way I feel about like the 94 viaduct. So in the North Loop, there's like this freeway leaving the city, and even Mike Rainville has talked about how like someday that's going to come down. Mike Rainville being the city council representative there. And it's just a matter of when it happens. Like there will be a train going to Duluth someday. As long as if society exists in 200 years, there will be a train going to Duluth, or like some form of rapid transportation up there. I have seen recent talks of a train going to Rochester, and that being a little more valuable than Duluth, because then we'd have the ability for people to, if you could get a train going between Rochester and Minneapolis or St. Paul, that's like less than an hour, that opens up some of that Mayo Clinic commuting to Minneapolis. So you have whether people who want to live in Rochester and commute to Minneapolis, or people who work or go to Mayo Clinic and want to live in the cities, be able to do that too. I love Duluth. I would probably prioritize Rochester first, but I think Duluth will probably be prioritized. But I don't know. I know they're currently studying and planning for that North Star line, so we'll see. Hopefully it comes to life. Jonathan Walker says, you never see a steam locomotive around Minnesota. Yeah, you see them in Minnesota, just not in, it's just weird to catch it in Minneapolis as the boat was going under. Lots of shirtless people. Yeah, people in Minnesota love to run shirtless. It's kind of a thing. I don't know, I think people everywhere kind of like to run shirtless. It's like 80 something degrees today, so people get a little hot. I've also had some people ask about biking in Minnesota in the winter, so looking forward to making some videos about that this winter. I'll probably talk about like the gear I have and my regular bike that I ride in the winter, and how it works and how cold I am, etc., and what the streets look like. Sharing that stuff this winter, so lots of stuff to be excited about. I'm enjoying summer and fall though. Jin Sol says, there's the Mill City Museum. Yeah, up ahead here. And the theater where we were forced to go see A Christmas Carol in middle school. Forced to? You were blessed to get to go to the Guthrie and see A Christmas Carol, right? I think they do that one every year. Hey, Dark Hero works right down the road. Oh. There we go. Really like this this apartment building here. That top floor. Very nice style. Yeah, if you get to go see the Christmas Carol at the Guthrie, you should consider yourself lucky. I would love the opportunity to do that. But I know sometimes when you're in middle school and it's like a forced trip, it feels like it's not fun, but hopefully at some time in hindsight you can look back on it and feel like it was a cool trip. Dark Hero, haven't they? Dark Hero says I should hassle that Packer fan, and I would say, haven't they been through enough today? Or the last few years, right? You got cones and creams. Oh, this leaf just flew into me. Hit me right in the throat. Let's see what's on the menu today. We got pumpkin, caramelicious, churro chata. All kinds of stuff. Yeah, I agree, cheesecake. It's got that kind of French style, and you see a lot of that top floor with the windows and that style of roof. I don't know. I like architecture, but I'm not studied in it, so I don't know how to describe all this stuff. So let's go on the stone arch bridge here for a minute. So I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I went and walked around down there in Mill Ruins Park because someone had asked a question like what it's like down there or if it's still open. And I just walked down. I went and parked my bike right there. As you can see bike parking there a little bit in the distance. And I thought it was just like closed off to cars. But that was saying like closed, do not enter. And so technically I think this whole park is closed down there. But I just went and walked around down there and it was nice, but probably would be cooler when it's open. Slimy says, hands in the air, put the ice cream in the bag, put it in. Blueberry cheesecake swirl. Yeah, they got all kinds of flavors. And their ice cream's really good. I've had it a couple times. Dark Hero says that new huge white apartment building straight ahead is insane. So that is 11 on the water. I think it is the tallest residential building on the Mississippi riverfront. Was completed in 2023, if I remember correctly, so a little over a year ago. It has a restaurant space on the ground floor that still hasn't been rented out yet. But a very nice building. I think I like it stylistically. It turned out pretty cool. I was a bit disappointed when I found out that the developer, the designer, the architect had they kind of copy paste that building around. So initially it was actually going to be built in Edina, and I think it was going to be 2 towers in Edina. And then that got shut down, and they ended up going with this location. But it was the same idea, and he has a couple, he or she, I don't know, they, like the person has a couple buildings throughout the country that are very much so the similar thing with minor changes to it. But it looks nice. Jinsol heard a guy say, hey, that was, I think he was talking to his friend over there. I don't know. Maybe they're going on a cute little date walking around the Stone Arch Bridge. Yeah, Dark Hero says they could see it in Edina. Yeah, the idea was down there kind of by, not 50th in France, but Southdale type area, where they've had a couple other new buildings come in recently. But I like that it's here. I think it works really well right there. Yeah, park closed, construction traffic only. See, I came on here. I'm pointing, but you can't see because it's outside here. And then go over here. Run from the theater. You can't go back. Did you get you got permanently banned from there for stealing popcorn? You made a scene. We're not ready to talk about it yet. Yeah, I know. I'm not going down to Coast of Guthrie. I am going to set this down for a moment and plug in my battery, which means that the mic will come unplugged, so audio is probably going to be different for the rest of the time today. Just need to find somewhere to set it. Soul says they wouldn't let us eat. They starved an entire class of middle schoolers. How rude. Who planned that out? Why didn't they feed you first? I need to talk to your school administrator. Isn't it funny how that works? Like, you have this experience somewhere, you go to this beautiful theater in Minneapolis, they take you up probably by bus and they bring everybody up here, and then your takeaways are that you were forced there and that you couldn't eat, and like these little details that they should think about when they're bringing kids and bringing people up to this stuff, which I'm sure they do, and you never know what hiccup happened, but like a little thing like that can change someone's experience of something for a long time. It's really hard to rebuild a reputation and change a memory of something like that. All right, we got the battery pack plugged in here. Figure out how to get this backpack back on properly. Cartier says, which I pronounce sometimes Cartier, sometimes Carter, you know, however I feel like when I read it. One of the many reasons why I love living in the cities is not super, in the cities of Minnesota, it's not super expensive like New York or California. There are a lot of job opportunities, healthcare, and other perks and benefits. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So I moved here from California, from the Bay Area, and was just amazed by how affordable it is. I love it. Yeah, like I don't think people understand how you see a video from here in February and it is shocking. It's 10 degrees, it's freezing, there's snow and ice everywhere. But like this bike infrastructure on an 80-degree day, it's been pretty much 80 degrees since late May. It's been perfect this summer, so much. And like it's just been a wonderful summer, and like it is so worth it to live through a few months of colder weather in order to enjoy somewhere nice like this and affordable. And this is one of my favorite bike lanes in the city. I love how it's protected. You still have parking for all the people who value their parking and want to park their cars. You still have plenty of two-way traffic for vehicles to get through. I love this piece of bike infrastructure, and I hope they do it more throughout the Twin Cities and other places. Huge thing that sets it apart is trees. You know, you got this nice tree line along the street here. Greenery makes it really nice to walk on. Really well done piece of infrastructure, I think, for pedestrians, for cyclists, for cars. It's perfect. Well, it would be perfect if we had what I mentioned so often, the outdoor cafes with the spots to sit there and drink coffee on a table out front. See and be seen. Dark Hero says, you're gonna walk to the Vikings Stadium? I don't know, toward that direction at least. Paul says, do you take requests? Absolutely. I am listening to whatever you say. Like, whatever you write in there, I'll see it. If it's somewhere that I can go, I will do my best to get there. If it's somewhere that I can't, I'll still remember that you said it and try to find a way there someday. If you say I'm the worst person on earth, I'll read that too. I'll know that you felt that way. And I'll try my best to move on from you saying that. Jinsol says, in my opinion, I prefer the Uptown Theater to that theater. Still never been to the Uptown Theater, but I do need to get out there. Completely different place though. Like Uptown Theater, I think you said you went there for the K-pop concert a few weeks back, which like, that's fun. That's a whole vibe. That's like energy, and it's a live music performance where the Guthrie is more where you go see like theatrical plays and stuff like that. Just different, you know? Both have a lot of value. I definitely find myself going to concerts and performances more than I do like theatrical performances and plays, but I enjoy both. This is a brand new building here on Portland. Hey, Richard Cena says, just got approved by the Minnesota bar from out of state. I'll be out there within a year to get sworn in. Hey, congratulations on that. Yeah. Best of luck with moving out here and getting sworn in and everything you take on when you move to Minnesota. And congratulations on whatever work it took you to achieve that. And wish you all the best with what's coming next. Slimy says we're gonna make a Walking Minnesota play. It's just, you know, we put up different street scenes in there, and I walk by with my little gimbal here. O2 Luxury Tower at 250 Portland. And Slimy says because A, screw A Christmas Carol, and B, well, she said 1 and 2. Screw A Christmas Carol, and I was forced to see it. Yeah. I was thinking of you and Jinsol yesterday. I was on next to Moon Palace Bookstore on Minnehaha Avenue in Minneapolis, and there was like, I think it was called like the K-pop fall craft sale or something. Yeah, there's some sort of a K-pop event going on there. But I was riding my bike by when I saw it. Yeah. I don't know if it's cool or anything. But they said fall event, so maybe it's something that they put on every few months and have other cool stuff going on in what, winter or summer. The K-pop craft sale, yeah, that's what it was called. Richard says, not officially moving within a year, just have to get sworn in, and I want to visit. Minneapolis is on the short places to live if I ever leave Florida. Here you go. Was planning on visiting Florida next month, but it sounds as though that may have fallen through. There's some videos that someone took at the Artemis in the Uptown Theater, and you can hear clearly screaming in the background. Don't you love when that happens? You go to a concert or something, and there's like a quiet moment, and the person singing like changes the song to make it quiet in a part, and you're like yelling it, and you're like, oh my god, that was me. Yeah. That's that'll teach you to be loud at the concert, I guess. Or it's kind of cool to be to recognize yourself in that video. No drinking or bathing. Oh boy, oh, that was last night. Slimy says they felt so bad for the people who sat next to them. Oh, it was seated? I thought that was like a standing room place. Maybe it is more like the Captain I thought. Or is it, I think it's got like a floor pit and then a balcony where you can sit. Because I was just screaming my head off during the concert. It's a concert, it's high energy, it's, you know, it's all about the vibe that they're having there. There's US Bank Stadium, advertising on the window there, the 2025 Gold Cup, which Gold Cup is like a soccer tournament involving teams throughout North America and the Caribbean. And just last week they announced that US Bank Stadium would be hosting a game there, which is odd because typically when that tournament comes to Minnesota, it goes to Allianz Field, which is the Minnesota United soccer stadium, which is about, I think, close to a third the size of the Vikings stadium in terms of capacity. And those ones don't always sell out. Well, maybe they do, but I don't see the demand being there for that many people. And then someone pointed out to me that for that tournament they're doing, they're going to be adding 2 teams from Europe, 2 teams from Asia, 2 teams from Africa, and 2 teams from South America. So potential for some really big soccer teams coming here the year before the World Cup in the US. So the rumor is that France and Spain might be playing in the Gold Cup, and like considering a, you know, massive team like that coming here to Minneapolis would be huge. But we'll see. We'll have to be a little patient. Looks like there is some sort of concert going on here at the Armory. Yeah, they mixed in both small regular soccer stadiums and those large football stadiums in that. So I'd imagine they're putting the bigger teams in the football stadiums. So hopefully we can get something that draws a meaningful crowd here in Minneapolis. Dark Hero says, have you ever been to Tom's Watch? I've never been inside there. I've walked by it a couple dozen times. I think it's kind of like a sports bar, right? So we've got Rainbow Kitten Surprise performing the Love Hate Music Box Tour 2024. Have you been into Tom's Watch then, Dark Hero? We walked by earlier and it was pretty crowded. Look at this guy skidding out on the scooter. Oh yeah, great food too. Nice, good to know. Typically when I'm looking for food before or after a performance or concert or whatever in downtown, Glicks is my go-to, the German spot. Well, we'll check out Tom's Watch Bar sometimes. I feel like that would be like the perfect spot for during like the first games of March Madness, because they have so many TVs in there, I think. All right, I would like to present everybody with the ugliest building in Minneapolis. the Hyatt Place. You have 9 or 10 floors of parking on the lower level here. This weird hotel on the top. Really odd design there. It's definitely, I'll say it's kind of unique, but man, I find that building hideous. A lot of people will say that the Multi-Foods Tower is the ugliest building in Minneapolis. I would argue that this one takes the cake. Dark Hero says you'll love it. All right, I'll check it out and I'll let you know. I definitely like sports, but I prefer like a sports bar where it's like a regular bar that plays sports sometimes. I feel like sports bar can be a little overwhelming for me, but it can still be fun. Jonas says, looks like someone dug up a building with underground parking. Right? Like that should be what's visible above ground, and this would all be underground. But we'll record this building in hopes that someday, in 20 years, this building is gone and people can watch this video and be like, wow, there's that ugly building that was in Minneapolis. Like, is there a pool right here or something, or like an outdoor space? What do we got going on here, guys? We're just trying to give more rooms with windows. And like, I can't speak to the quality of the hotel in there or anything. It might be a fine hotel in there. Rooms might be great. Exterior of this building is my least favorite in Minneapolis. Oh, this guy's got the fat tire bike out already. Whoa, man, what are you doing? Why are you riding the bike lane up the street? Interesting to have the fat tire out already. I've never ridden one of those fat tire bikes. Maybe I'll look. I don't know if they rent those. I'm sure they do somewhere. But I'll try to find if I can rent one day and maybe make a video on riding around Minneapolis in that in the winter on a snow day. Jonas says, at least there's no ground floor rooms. Yeah, at least you have to go up 9 stories. It's kind of weird in here. not intended for seating. It's like the Minneapolis motto. City Heights Center. You have this other really interesting one here on the right. Another one that, if you are not a fan of it, I would not argue it. I don't mind it. I think it's unique and kind of cool in its own way. The initial plan here with these, this was the headquarters of Thrivent, I believe, which is like a Lutheran, so a religious financial services company. And the idea was to have two mirrored buildings like this, so one like that and one on the other side, and it's supposed to look like praying hands. I'm like, I can see the concept of that. So they're supposed to be back to back, like another one like right there. I don't know. That would have been kind of cool. Definitely a unique thing. Now it is owned by the county. The Hennepin County building. This is definitely like the part of Minneapolis for weird buildings. So you've got the Thrivent one there. You have that city center, city place one on the other side. Looks similar to the cheese grater building in London. I see it, I see it. Around this corner we've got another really interesting one. It's like it's an energy company if I remember correctly. And things on the top here in the middle of winter will be like spraying out steam. You got this kind of brutalist tower on the right. I don't know what they do in there, but it's related to energy. SPS Tower here. Yeah, well, I've been streaming for about 2 hours. Did not realize that. Where does the time go? I think I will start heading back towards my car and hang out at home and probably watch the Minnesota Lynx game. So I'll probably be heading out in a few minutes here. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Go Lynx. Hopefully, if you have access to television or a sport, maybe I should go to Tom's and watch the Lynx tonight. You have access to a spot where they show that stuff, go check it out. I was outside yesterday I went to this place called Seward Cafe on this bike ride. It was right next to a bar of their own, which is like a sports bar that focuses on prioritizing women's sports. Well, I don't know if they only show it or if they prioritize it or what, but make it so that you don't have to fight for that screen spot. To know how annoying it can be going to watch a game and wanting to watch something at the bar or whatever, and someone asks to put on the same sport that's on every other TV in the place, and they shut you down to watch that same thing that's on every other TV. But yeah, beautiful day in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Glad that we're all here to walk through it with me. If you're watching in the future, I appreciate that as well. Dark Hero, Jonas, Chelsea, Jinsung, everybody in the chat, Laura, Slimy, hope you all have a great rest of your day. Hopefully I'll be able to stream again soon. Definitely considering, I have penned the Minnesota Wild home opener, so streaming in St. Paul in a couple weeks here, I think. We'll see. I don't know though. Definitely need to get over to St. Paul again soon. But yeah, keep the ideas coming in my inbox. Keep the you can always email me. You can respond in the replies once the live is done, and I will take your ideas to heart. Hopefully we can check them out sometime. So back to this giant surface parking lot that we started off at. Looks like a lovely Sunday in Minneapolis. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone.